Indiana Jones, Lara Croft, Nathan Drake, Ayumi, Nicolas Cage, the truly iconic treasure hunters of our generation. Now, there is an odd one out there. You see, back in 2007, a little Russian studio known as Gaijin released a hack-and-slash treasure hunting action-adventure game under the name of Blade. 2 years later, the game was re-released to the rest of the world as xblades. Now, you may recognize Gaijin from their much less successful small indie cult classic known as War Thunder. But before that little game, they made Anime Tomb Raider. In my desperate search for a game that starts with X for my alphabet platinums, I stumbled into this masterpiece. I knew nothing about this game going in, other than what I read and saw on the cover. So why don't we go on this little adventure together? The game opens and sets the stage for what to expect. Booty shots. And I'm not talking about treasure. When you get control of Ayumi, you're introduced to this game's clunky feel. The movement is fast, but the parkour is horrid. It really makes Uncharted Drake's Fortune feel gorgeous to control. Once passing the impossible PS3 parkour pain, you get to swinging. The combat is your standard hack and slash, but with a small twist. Your blades are crossed with a gun. An X-blade, if you will. So you hack, slash, and shoot your way to the first trophy and unlock the first ability using the game's currency. Souls. Ah, shit. I think I've seen that one before. Passing that first section, I got to experience this game's magic. Your abilities are assigned to 4 spots that correspond to 4 buttons. Triangle, circle, L2, and R2. You have a fair number of abilities to unlock, and they slowly become available as you play. The game introduces the fireball spell as the only way to kill an ice spirit, as it throws you into fight with one to get the feel. But this is the spot where I went into my first frustration. Your magic use relies on the rage bar, and the rage bar perpetually decreases. The only way to gain rage is to kill enemies, take damage, or break rage crystals. So that meant for this fight with the ice spirits, and only the ice spirits, I had to take damage to the point where I would charge enough rage to fight back. Once I had finally killed the ice spirits, I headed down into a pit and picked up the first collectible before finishing the very first level. The next level opens with what I can only describe as one of the most anime cutscenes I have ever seen. This weird animal lion thing ominously tells Ayumi this generic round ball thing will kill her. Of course, she ignores him and touches it anyway. Things happen. She doesn't die. And then boss fight. Now, I did this entire boss fight without realizing that the boss's health bar is in the lower right. It actually took me a while to realize that every single level has a health bar in the bottom right that corresponds to the primary objective of the level. I should have noticed. I next went to the shore and hacked and slashed and shot my way to 100 dead monsters. Continuing this level, I ran into what I consider the worst enemy in the game. I have no idea what they're called, but they're these flying, screaming, fucking bug things. They do a ton of damage, and they take quite a bit to kill, and they fly quite far. I died. I then bonked another boss and headed to the next level. I then got to the Stairway of Heaven and ran into another annoying flying enemy. No, it was not a Zeppelin. These little Grim Reaper fucks fly around, swipe through you, and gang up in sectors of 5 to form pentagrams that blast you with a ton of damage. It took me way too long to realize I could just shoot one of the 5 in the pentagram and stop the entire thing. Whoops. I narrowly avoided death and finished this mediocre level. Entering the next mission, I stayed near the entrance to the area while firing my pistols. I backed up a little too far and went back into the Stairway to Heaven. I quickly turned around and returned to the current mission, which respawned all the enemies I had killed. Great. The ruins continued the level tradition of bringing in a new enemy. This one, a spawn sphere. These spheres are the only things that need to be killed. The longer you take, the more small enemies that spawn. When I had nearly completed the area, I died. So, time to try again. After destroying all the spawn spheres, you simply had to finish off the rest of the enemies remaining in the level to finish it and move on. The next level was Fork in the Road, where I found my 3rd silver artifact and upgraded my shooting. Observation Site was the follow-up, and it was the first level that actually confused me and left me needing a guide. Basically, you enter a scripted, unavoidable spike trap. I dodged, attempted to jump out of the trap, but with no luck, I thought maybe I'd have to die. Nope, that didn't work. After reading a guide for Observation Site, I discovered the only way to do it is to take some damage, but also dodge for a little bit, and then you're saved by a generic anime man. You get a cutscene that sets up this generic anime man as the moral light magic using guy who just wants to help. We get rid of this dude and then fight some enemies. Deadly Passage was the follow-up, our first mission that can be easily done without taking any damage. Deadly Passage was our little taste of the French Revolution and our first mission that can be done easily without taking any damage. Now here's where I can take a second and mention the bad button combos and controls once again. To dodge the blades, you need to forward, forward, jump, which is pushing the left stick once, stopping, pushing the left stick again, stopping, and pressing X. You then do a little dive roll through the area. Now, there was another trophy for completing 6 missions without taking any damage. Now, this trophy does carry across different playthroughs, but I was hoping I could get it out of the way now and cheese it. So I reloaded my save and did the Deadly Passage 6 times. It didn't work. So I moved on. This next level is our first repeat. Yep. Turns out, even before War Thunder, Gaijin did not know how to create a map pool. Almost every single level we will play in this game will be repeated again. So I'm going to have a little level counter going in the top right, and we'll see just how many times we play a repeated level. Our next mission follow-up is another repeat. Now we get a boss fight. You get into a very generic arena setting where Mr. Anime Light Magic Guy is fighting the Dark Brother Lion thing from before. Now, up to this point, I had been maining dark magic, and it took me way too long to realize that the dark magic was doing very, very little to the Dark Lion. This is one of the things I actually quite like about early PS3 games, and this game in particular, is it really doesn't hold your hand for a lot of it. It gives you a rough outline, a rough idea, using stuff like the tutorial having you fight ice spirits with fire weapons, but outside of that, the game really just throws you in and lets you figure it out, and I quite like that. Once I defeated the boss, for now, we get another incredibly anime cutscene where Mr. Anime Guy says something forgettable and runs off.
Cower in fear, for your end is at hand. The light always overcomes the dark. Your time is over.
Wait!
Oh my god. They're gonna do a love story between these two, aren't they? We then get a new level. Woo! After finishing the ruins too, I chose the wrong level exit and ended up on this whole weird side area. I hit a little portal and it very unceremoniously dropped me onto a bridge. After a thrilling R1 spam, I was onto the Sky Islands. And this area sucked. The platforming in this game is terrible, and this whole area is full of opportunities to fall down. Thankfully, I made it through, but was greeted with Temple in the Sky as the next level. Great. More bad parkour. And dead. Alright, take 2. I got stuck surrounded by those awful flying enemies again and barely made it out alive. When I got to the bottom, I realized I had missed one straggler, and I needed to turn around, parkour my way back up, kill that last enemy for the next level to unlock, knowing if I fell off and died, I would have to redo the entire level from the start. Thankfully, I channeled all my inner parkour skills and all the practice from ukulele and managed to jump my way up, kill the enemy, and move to the next level. We are now back on the ruins too. I won't necessarily count this as a level repeat, as I sort of did the wrong way and ended up back here. Nevertheless, I now took the correct way out and headed on to the next story level. Getting where I wanted to go, I got to fight more damn ice spirits. The next mission was another slashy area with spawn spheres. Following it up is a super short one that gives you another chance of 0 damage. Blades of Death. After getting across the stabby log, I headed to the Great Gates for another boss fight. And my first attempt, I died. But I figured out what the gimmick was, and I really liked it. To beat this big-ass spider, you have to shoot the little flying things above it. The little flying things remind me a lot of in the Horizon series. There is a enemy that has little flying lasers that come up off of it, and you gotta shoot those before you kill the big enemy. Very similar to that. I really liked it. Basically, if you don't kill the little flying things first and you fire a spell at the spider, they absorb it. They take the hit for the spider, and you do no damage to the boss. So you have to shoot all of them first with your xblades, your little pistols, and then you are able to damage the spider. Honestly, a fantastic boss fight. I want more stuff like this. arched bridge was another spirit fight, but this time it was fire spirits. That way we had to use the ice spell. Woo, really changing it up. The way to the temple was another big glut of enemies, with nothing interesting to say. We get another cutscene where our anime boy gets pinned to the wall and we start another boss fight. He was like talking in the background to you. Oh no, the guy I didn't care about got stabbed. Whoa, no. Well, it may be a different name. This is the same layout as the first boss fight map, so I guess we could count that as a level repeat. This boss fight solidified my masterful strat of freeze the boss, walk up, and do earthquake. It worked brilliant. After killing him, well, we get another cutscene and anime boy tells Ayumi not to touch the magic ball thing. But of course I do it anyway, and there's a light explosion, and we no longer have access to dark spells. She has been cleansed of the curse. But oh no, the curse has got to go somewhere else. I wonder... Not the anime boy! Post cutscene, we get a running mission with a few enemies. The long descent. Woo! So thrilling. Now in the dungeon, we learn a new skill and blast a few dudes before heading to the next level repeat. It's okay, I'm sure they're just running out of ideas. You see, somebody at this Gaijin pitch meeting came up and was like, hey guys, I know we're running out of level ideas, and we'd like to get this game out soon. So I have this concept. What if you take all the existing levels, take the little gamma slider, and just pull it down? Make the skybox a little darker, and now it's an evening mission. I hope that guy got a raise, because that was a brilliant idea. Double the length of this game. And now we get another level repeat back to back with a giant version of my most hated enemy. This boss fight is probably the worst one. This little fecker spawns a bunch of mini enemies that give him a shield preventing all damage. After some struggling, and the shield continuing to stay up, I finally figured it out. I had to freeze the enemies, and then use Mega Shot on the boss. Now I had not unlocked Ice Flower, despite the fact that I probably should have, which gives an AoE of ice around me. Instead I had only Ice Shot, so I had to fire at the singular enemies, of which there were 3 to 8 of them, and then I'd be able to attack the boss, but only for a short amount of time before they became unfrozen. Yeah, I don't know who approved this, but it's awful. It's not even a good gimmick, and they're almost certainly going to reuse it later. On a better boss fight. Spoiler alert. After much struggling, I finally managed to pull it off. Our next level is once again a repeat. Stairway to Heaven remains an annoying-ass mission, and this time it's a dark spirit. And since I had not unlocked the light spell, the only way for me to do damage was using my light form. So this meant I had to activate light form, spam my bullets at him, all the while trying to heal myself long enough to be able to outshoot something that did a substantial amount more damage to me. Moving on, we get another level repeat. Yep, I really am just replaying the entire game, but in the evening. Observation site. Yeah, again. And now for Robespierre's favorite level. At night. Followed up is Ruins Above the Sea for the 30th time. I don't know how many times I've played this now. But then, we get another boss fight. And finally, it's something a little different. But it's on the same map area as before, the arena. So yeah, it's still unoriginal. Now this boss fight is a big-ass robot. Why in this anime, old temple, ancient beings, light and dark, they decided to have a robot? Man, I don't know. Gaijin just... Come on, Gaijin, why? Why? Now this big-ass robot has little spinny arms that block your shots, bounce stuff back at you. Your standard threatening robot with wavy arms. It's like the loaders from Borderlands. Like, same thing, basically. Now this solidified my strategy of freeze the enemy and earthquake next to him. I did that for this entire boss fight, and was successful once again. We get the ruins too. Again. New levels are hard, am I right? You know what? I'm just gonna skip until there's something interesting, and we'll just add to the counter the amount of level repeats I go past. Oh! Boss fight. And this one is a really good one. This fight is with the Dark Lion thing. I used my strat of freezing and ground slapping, but... Oh? What's this? The boss can go invincible and lights a bunch of elemental fires? You have to shoot these fires with the opposite element to put them out? Put them all out and you can damage them again? What a fantastic mechanic! An interesting boss fight. And oh, another mechanic? The boss spawns a bunch of little ads that give him a shield. I tried fighting them normal and I died. This is awesome. It's an actual challenge. The farther I get in the game, the more interesting it's getting. The boss fights are more fun. I was excited. So I changed up my strategy, pulled out Ice Flower, primarily used the light spells, continued my tactics, froze all of the enemies, and then when you damaged the boss, all the frozen enemies despawn. Brilliant. The best boss fight of the game, hands down, so far. I loved it. More of this. And oh, a cutscene.
Tell me he's finally gonna be dead.
And oh no, the anime boy is now a bad dark magic anime boy. Whoa, what a surprise. So we fight him and it's a far less interesting battle. No mechanics, he just occasionally freezes you, so I get a taste of my own medicine, and then hits you, you get unfrozen, you take some damage. Yep, I kill him with light spells and nothing else, and that's that. I'm certainly hoping that this second boss fight is not what the rest of the game's boss fights will be like, and rather we'll get one more like the Dark Line. And wow, following it up is another new level? And then another new one? Whoa, look at all those columns. Following up the beautiful amount of columns, we get another chance for a trophy on this boss fight. The boss fight opens with you being shown how to do square, square, R1 to fire a super shot. As you wander around the corner, you realize the boss cannot get into the hallway you're standing in. So you just stand in the hallway, press square, square, R1, do a super shot, and slowly whittle away his health, and secure yourself the boss fight without taking any damage trophy. Wow. What a great boss fight and a great trophy. And to top it all off, our best friend Terrible Button Timing Combos comes back because it's a nightmare to perform this combo. It took me far too long to get it consistent, but when I finally did, I was able to kill this stupid walking blurg thing and move on. After that immensely difficult boss fight, we get, well, immediately another boss fight. And it's the final one of the game. The big bad evil anime boy. And you know what? I'm just gonna show you the entire final boss fight of the game, uncut, unedited. Enjoy.
What a based cutscene. Only for it to cut to this, bro. I'll bet it's gonna be the exact same attack method.
I think you need to use light magic.
Get away from me.
This game's garbage.
It is. Anyways, sorry. I don't know. See ya.
See you, Anthony.
Yeah.
Oh, I know what I need to do. I need to equip light for him.
I get it. Yes.
Oh my god, I'm melting him. Oh my god. Oh my god, look at his HP! Holy shit! Holy shit! Holy shit! Oh my god, come on, come on. That was it! That was it!
Yeah, what are those anime cutscenes?
I know. Holy shit, that was all it was. I just mashed the single attack. Holy shit.
Yeah, that's it. That's all it is. That is the entire final fight. I was so baffled that that was the end of the game that I reloaded the game and played the boss fight again, just to be sure something weird didn't happen. But no, I load in, I spam R2, which is what I had bound my spell to, and kill him almost immediately. your rage bar refills so fast and his attacks are so mediocre, the freezing barely does anything to you, and he's dead. There's no ads, there's no mechanics. Did they just give up at the end of this game? Did they get to that point with the haul and showing you the super shot and just go, yeah, I don't know what we're going to do anymore, so, here you go, game's over. They must have run out of development time or something. I don't know what happened. But I thought, okay, this game is going to make me replay the entire thing in pro difficulty to get the platinum. So, maybe it'll be a harder fight on pro difficulty. We'll see in a few moments. Now, almost anyone who knows me, either in person or has watched enough of my videos, knows I tend to pick the easiest or close to the easiest difficulty when playing games if there's no penalty or if there is no trophies related to it. Now, when it comes to stuff like Helldivers 2, something more competitive, more online, more like that, I will go hardest all the time and have fun doing that. But if my single-player games don't require the hardest difficulty for trophies, I am playing on easy, I am enjoying the story, I am having a relaxing, fun time with zero frustration. So, I was a little hesitant to have to play a game that requires me not only to play the hardest difficulty, but the hardest difficulty that isn't unlocked until you beat the game. This is a pet peeve of mine in trophy lists. I think it's terrible to lock a trophy behind a hardest difficulty that isn't unlocked until a second playthrough. It's one thing to do a hardest difficulty, it's another thing to do a difficulty plus. Not a fan. But I rolled up my sleeves, and I started a new game on Pro. I got to play every mission, again, and all of the duplicates, again. All of the boss fights, again. And well, how hard was it? I barely could tell a difference. I don't understand. I felt like I forgot to click Pro. But I had Pro selected. All my save files said Pro. I got the trophy for Pro. But it felt the exact same as easy. The only slight difference is that maybe enemies had a little more health. So it took a little longer to kill stuff, but I wasn't taking any extra damage. I wasn't getting rewarded more or less. I wasn't having more enemies to fight. It was the same damn game, and it felt just as easy in the easy spots and annoying in the annoying spots as the first playthrough did. And so, well, how was that final boss fight? Yep, it took me like 30 seconds again. It was a joke. I still don't get it. I didn't need health. I didn't need anything. It was an immediate win. The only differences I noticed in my pro to my standard playthrough was that slightly longer enemy kill time and the fact that I was a little better clothed. But now that I was done, I got myself some interestingly named trophies.
Huh?
And secured the good ending this time. In my first playthrough, I had unlocked dark spells as it is required for the platinum, and that meant I got the bad ending, where all that bad dark energy I had gained transferred to Anime Boy, and after the boss fight, Anime Boy died. Now, in the good ending, which is what I did in the pro difficulty playthrough, I did not unlock a single dark spell, and this meant Anime Boy got to live happily ever after with Ayumi. They didn't have anything. Why are they like best buddies / significant others now? I don't get it. It's stupid fucking anime plots. Sorry, I know not all animes are like this, but ones made by a Russian development studio in 2007 apparently aren't. Turns out xblades' story, kinda bad. Who could have seen that coming? I now took this time to check the trophy list because, well, I was expecting a plat. I was really expecting to finish my pro playthrough and be done. That was it. But no, I was missing the 6 levels without taking any damage and the 10,000 kills trophy. As I mentioned earlier, with these 6 levels without taking any damages, it was supposed to stack between playthroughs. And not only do you play 4 distinct levels that are easy to get the no damage taken in, but I did 3 of them successfully, twice, and I did the evening editions of them, which for some reason didn't seem to count. So I thought, okay, it stacks between playthroughs. I'll start another playthrough, and hammer my way up to the French Revolution. So I blitzed my way there through every single enemy, every single boss fight again and again and again. Managed to get my way there. Dodged those guillotines the way Marie Antoinette would have loved. And managed... no trophy. Okay. Well, you know, at that point I've got to be at 5 at least. Like, I know I've done 3 in a playthrough, and I did that twice. I should be at 6, but I've done another. So I'll start another playthrough, and I'll get there again, because that only took me about 20 minutes. So I'll try it again. And I got there, dove underneath the guillotines, my head stayed on, and still no trophy. At this point I was confused, frustrated, and hoping I didn't have a glitched trophy in a game I didn't really like all that much. But I thought, well, there's a possibility that I can get 0 damage on Fork in the Road. So I scrolled through my save list, as I had been saving on almost every level up until that point, found myself a save on Fork in the Road, booted it up, sat in a corner where nothing could get to me, spammed R1, took me about 10 minutes all on its own, killed every enemy, and... yeah, I got it. Alright, so that was easy enough. And now, I had to check my stats to see how many more of the 10,000 kills I needed. And I only needed about 600 more. So I jumped into Hall of Columns, farmed a bunch of enemies, and had myself the xblades Platinum.
Platinum! Goodbye, xblades.
And so it's done. What an inoffensive nothing game. The gameplay is actually pretty solid, and I can see how with that foundation they could have built on it in a sequel and made a really solid game. If you like hack and slashes, it does that well enough. You feel cool spamming squares, shooting your guns, just... It is a fairly fluid game when you're in that combat. It's not so interesting to talk about a lot of these levels, but I didn't find any particularly awful. It was very much a 50-60 of a game, much like Resistance Burning Skies. Nothing special, but nothing inherently terrible. Don't get me wrong, there were bad moments and there were bad boss fights and the ending was terrible and the story was awful, but none of that made it a completely unredeemable game. It was still a solid enough PS3 anime experience. Probably my first. But in spite of all of that, I am glad there is no xblades 2 for me to have to platinum. I can move on from this series and never play another Gaijin game as long as I live. Oh, fuck. No. Son of a bitch.